Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to ARC Capital Options Day Trading Mentorship Class 15. Today we're going to be going over managing trendy and high momentum days, reading the market, finding opportunity, and riding the trend. Let me get right into it here. So, what is a trendy momentum day? A trading momentum day is when price moves strongly in one direction, making higher highs with clean pullbacks to the ARC clouds or VWAP bands, then continuing the trend. Some signs of a strong trend is when the arc clouds are fully expanded and angled. So whether they're facing upwards or downwards, once you start to see that momentum or that kind of shift from small cloud to that expansion, I'm going to send 6 screenshots right now here in the chat. These are cloud expansion, guys, right? If you guys take a look at what I just sent in the chat, right, you guys can clearly see you have SPY and Qs, right, which we're going to go over in a second. And then the 5 individual names that I have up there, which are ARM, SNDK, MU, and AVGO. You guys see how on those individual names the trend is very clear, right? The clouds are expanding, right? And angled, that's a sign of a trendy day. Once you start to see that in the morning after, let's say, that first initial pump, you can expect to see a continuation of that trend, right? So what's another sign of a strong trend? Price consistently above the upper VWAP band, right? Let's say we bounced off of the cloud, we bounced off of the VWAP, now we're trading above that top VWAP. You guys can see in all of those screenshots on the individual names how we're riding above that green line, right? That green line being the upper VWAP band. When trend is strong and there's a lot of momentum, it typically likes to stay above that top VWAP band, right? Not really giving you any pullbacks, just telling you, hey, still hold this trade. Then you have pullback holds on cloud or VWAP bounces. So let's say anytime it does come and test VWAP or cloud, you tend to see a nice rejection wick and then a buyback right to that top VWAP band. That's just another strong sign of a trend. Then you have higher highs on each push. Obviously, after every test, you want to see that higher high showing you that bullish structure. Then 10-minute clouds closing with momentum, right? You want to see every time that you get a pullback, like I said, that rejection wick showing that you don't want to come lower, right? That trend is still holding. So, what is not a trendy day? When the cloud is choppy, compressed, or flat, right? Now, what do I mean by this? When it is not expanding, right? When it's very barely visible, when you see it's flipping from green to red, when there's no real trend in the market, right? When price is oscillating inside of the cloud, right? What does that mean, guys? It just means that there's just choppy price action. There's wicks back and forth. Wow, we must have just gotten some news. SPY and Qs are selling off here. Next one here is when the VWAP bands are flattening out. Same situation with the clouds expanding. If you guys take a look at that screenshot that I sent in the chat, you guys can see that the VWAP bands extended and expanded with the clouds, right? As the trend continued to go upwards, the top VWAP band stuck very close to the trend, and that lower VWAP band followed with that direction towards the upside. Right, identifying to you that trend is strong. If you take a look at a stock like SPY on that same screenshot, you can clearly see that the VWAP bands are flat. And what I mean by flat is no direction. They're not pointing downwards. They're just sitting there like a strum of guitars, right? They're facts. Then you have failed breakouts and reversing back, right? Let's say that you just keep on getting chopped between the middle VWAP band. You can't seem to get a hold. It keeps on closing below and then popping back up above. You don't really want to be trading that, right? And then you have whipsawing candles, no clean closes. I was just saying, when you see, let's say, a massive sell-off under bottom VWAP band, and then it comes back up in the next candle and tests top VWAP band and closes above, stuff like that is just stuff that you want to stay away from, guys. It causes too much emotion, especially in the options market, right? Futures market, a little bit different. You can scalp it, you can be quick, but you need to have experience with that, right? So key principle, not every day is a trendy day for every instrument. Your job is to find where the momentum lives, right? We're always chasing the story. We're always chasing the momentum. We're always chasing where the money is going at the end of the day, guys, right? So going forward here to case study, indexes versus individual names. Rich, you want to go over this one?
Yeah, for sure. So today was a perfect example of why knowing where to look is just as important as knowing what to look for. So today, SPY and QQQ gave us the stay away signal, right? SPY, the cloud never fully expanded, was just choppy, overlapping candles, up, down. No clean VWAP trends, no clean cloud trends, right? Essentially untradable on the option side because the premium was just getting smacked around, was just getting decayed constantly by the up and down movement, and never got a real directional move to let those contracts eat. Premium was getting eaten by time decay with no directional move. As I just said, QQQ slightly better, held above the cloud and VWAP on tests, showed some bullish structure but lacked the momentum for clean option trades. We didn't really see any of those option contracts on Qs go super crazy. We did see it on other names. They moved, but not nearly as well as other options moved in this market. So recognizing this early saves you money. It's not a loss, it's discipline. Knowing where and when to trade it. A lot of people just see a lot of money on SPY and QQQ, and we were in that range bound market, which made it a little easier to trade. But as we get into this all-time highs, something that I wanted to really speak on is you see the momentum into the all-time highs, but once you get over the all-time highs, a lot of the time these moves happen overnight, especially during this news-driven market, and you're going to see that positive reaction into the individual names that don't see that reaction overnight. So individual names, there was money. The money was there. Was in MU, SNDK, AMD, AVGO, Amazon, Marvel, Google, Apple, AMD again. Just because I gotta say that 300 break was crazy.
Insane.
So many names. CoreWeave, another one. I could give so many examples, right? MU though, the clean morning cloud test ended up giving us a full trend day. Those 500 weeklies went 300% at the top. We ended up selling a lot for 80, 90, 100, 200%. It was crazy. Market is what? You see that right now? Wild. Hey, look at these. These moves are happening in the after hours. All moves are happening at night. Thank God I went full cash into today. We had, oh my lord. What do we just have overnight? AMAT, Oracle, and what else? That's it, I think. A little bit of MU running, but that's fine. Nothing matters until the morning, so whatever. Anyways, SNDK, same pattern as MU. Strong uptrend the entire session. Just kept on going. Paul ended up chasing into this, and this ended up absolutely ripping face over 940 into 980. Just crazy move. AMD clean VWAP test and bounce and clean continuation to that 300 psych level. And even once it broke 300, it went 4.5 points over. So still had a ton of room, was such a clean trend today. And we're going to get into the charts in a little bit here. AVGO retest and continuation, textbook setup, broke out the daily all-time high of 414 and ripped to that 4-hour high at 424. Just a beautiful clean day. Those lottos went stupid and really could have taken advantage of that one more. Amazon, same thing. Afternoon ripper off the cloud and middle VWAP bounce. Marvel, same thing. Sustained a strong session and then started to really rip into the end of the day. After 1240 had what? 6 to 7 straight 15-minute candles of straight up. Beautiful moves in this whole session, right? The individual names was where the money, where the options, and where the high percentages were at. SPY and Qs was just a whole lot of baba, a whole lot of bullshit. Pardon me the video. But, so, going on.
So, reading each setup, what the ARC system showed. So, for MU and SNDK, the morning runners both gave one cloud test early after the open. Price dipped into the upper cloud edge, held, and launched. Right? You guys know that we picked those up first at around a $270 premium. They came up a little, and then we came back down to the cloud, came back to reality, and waited for the pop. Right? After that, price stayed above the upper VWAP band all day. The textbook sign of extreme bullish mode. No more retest needed. MU 500 weeklies equal to 300% return at the top of those contracts on Rich's final sell. Then for AMD and AVGO, retest and continuation. By the book, pulled back cleanly into the VWAP and cloud support, held the 10-minute cloud, continued trend. These are ideal sniper entries. Wait for the candle close inside the cloud on the pullback. Enter on the next candle as it re-expands. AVGO in particular was patient money. And then for NVIDIA was choppy but one to watch, right? Out of all the semis, it was probably the least attractive out of all of them. Trickiest one of the day. The cloud never fully expanded into the trend mode. It was compressed at times, but price held above the cloud on every test. Smaller, cautious size was appropriate. NVIDIA reminded us not every watchlist stock gives a perfect setup. Sometimes you pass. Then for Amazon and Marvel afternoon plays, Amazon was quiet till the mid-afternoon, then bounced off both the cloud and middle VWAP simultaneously and ripped higher. Classic end-of-day expansion. Patient trader who didn't force morning trades caught this cleanly. Marvel showed a sustained trend all session, especially going into the end of that day. You want to go over his beautiful trade?
Yeah. Oh man. MU 300% banger. Oh my lord. All right, so the MU, we had the 500 weekly calls live trade example. The setup, our clouds expanded bullish off the open. So we ended up today having an early entry. I'm going to go into this in a little bit. Price tested the upper cloud in the morning, 10-minute candle close holding above the middle VWAP band, and SPY and QQ were relatively green on the day. The entry, we waited for the 10-minute candle to close, confirmed a hold at cloud level, entered on the next cloud open, weekly 500 strikes, size within our daily risk model, of course. The exit was as price was riding above the upper VWAP, held the band while staying below, exited on the close back below the band. Whatever, the exit, I'm going to show you guys the exit in a second. That's the VWAP. Three things that happened to other traders today. Sold early for a loss, saw early chop, panic sold before the cloud test, and as it was testing on the higher time frame, 30-minute. Didn't wait for the 10-minute candle to close, right? In the morning, we saw that nasty sell on the MU. I think maybe like 10 minutes after we got in, like a candle after we got in. I got one 10-minute candle after we got in and ended up rejecting. But that rejection ended up being a 30-minute cloud test. So I'm going to go over that in a little bit when we finish with these slides. And we're going to really deep dive down into that trade. I don't see in the news. What's the news? No clear news, chatter of explosions in Iran circling on X. That's what I'm seeing. Anyways, so we're going to go into the live trade, but beautiful catch on those 500s for on our part. And where was I? I had three things that happened to other traders. Sold early for a loss. Oh, sat out FOMO. So watched the move and never entered. It already moved and then missed the continuation and end up 300%. A lot of the times people do sit down. Even if we're up 80%, they think it's too late. A lot of our runners end up running to 200, 300%. So it's not really too late, essentially. But you have to enter that trade with very proper risk management and enter at a precise cloud test. Sold too early, entered correctly, but then took 50 to 80% of profits while price rode the entire clouds all the way up the whole day. And now this is not your fault, but as a trader and as we're trading in the system, you need to be the one to know when to hold and how to read the clouds, right? As long as price is staying over the clouds or under, depending on which way you're trading, you need to be holding runners on that trade. This is how your account's going to grow. This is how you're going to squeeze a lot of those profits out. We squeeze 300% out of this MU trade. Go to the next slide because then we'll get into the.
So,
All right.
how to identify trend mode. The earlier you identify trend mode, the more the move you capture. Here's the checklist using the ARC system. So, number one, ARC cloud fully expanded and angled. When all four EMAs are fanned out and angled in one direction, the cloud is expanding. Wide angled cloud equals potential trend day. Compressed flat cloud equals choppy day ahead. So usually you're able to see if there's any sort of cloud expansion within the first 30 minutes, right? The first 30 minutes with that volatility gives you the psychology or how people are looking at, or how do I phrase this? Fear in the market, whether there's no fear or whether there's fear, right? Whether there's profit taking or whether it's just flat out no, right? So whether you get any cloud expansion in those first 30 minutes or not is going to give you that identification of an early trend day. Number two is when price holds above the upper VWAP band. So let's say price closes and holds above the upper VWAP band or green line. Not only touching but staying above, that's extremely bullish momentum from class 6. Riding above the upper band equals hold calls and let them run. Right? Usually after seeing a test of that middle VWAP band and that cloud, you see some sort of expansion, close above the VWAP band. You don't want to see it go back down into the middle VWAP while you're looking for that expansion, right? You want to see closes above for that continuation. Number three is pullbacks hold at key levels. Healthy trends don't go straight up. They pull back, cloud test slash VWAP support, and continue from class 10. Sniper entries equals 10-minute cloud closes inside the cloud on pullbacks. Enter as it exits in the trend direction. Then number 4, you have SPY and QQQ alignment check from class 9. Always check SPY and QQQ first. When an individual stock trends while indexes chop, it is a stock-specific catalyst. That's fine, just know you're trading without index tailwind. Stay disciplined. You want to go over this or you want me to go over it?
The VWAP band riding?
Pause.
You know me, I don't really use the VWAP. So you want to go over it?
I'll go over. So, the number one skill on trend days, staying in your trades. Most traders exit too early. VWAP bands are your roadmap. So, on the call side, you're going to be riding the upper VWAP band, right? That green line. Enter on the cloud slash middle VWAP bounce. Wait for a 10-minute close for confirmation. Once price breaks above the upper VWAP band, continue holding while price stays above upper VWAP band on the 10-minute closes. If you did this on MU or SNDK today, you would have pretty much stayed in all day until the close. Once we broke above, we didn't really see a break down below. Your exit would be when the 10-minute candle closes back below the upper VWAP band towards the middle, right? That's when you're going to see price come down, give you your cloud test, give you that indication if trend is going to continue or not. So for the put side, you're going to be riding the lower VWAP band. Same kind of situation with entering on the middle VWAP band resistance rejection, right? So instead of from price going from down to up, it would be up to down. And always waiting for that 10-minute close confirmation. Once price breaks below the lower VWAP band, it's a continue holding while price stays below the lower band on the 10-minute closes. Exit when the 10-minute closes back above the lower VWAP band towards the middle. Rule on trendy days, the VWAP band replaces your normal take profit. Ride it until the candle close tells you the trend is weakening. This shows a 50% trade becoming a 300% trade. All right, easily shown on MU and SNDK today.
All right, the FOMO problemo. All right, don't watch at. Many students saw MU moving today and either sat out entirely or chased at the top. Here's the solution, guys. What FOMO looks like. It's already moved. I missed it. You see MU up 5% and assume the trade is over. You don't look for a retest. You sit out, and then it moves another 8%. Chasing the top, impatience kicks in, and you enter without a cloud or VWAP test just because it's moving, and then you get trapped at the top. Which means you get trapped at the top. The test happens, and you bought at the top. They were 500, and then the test happens, and they go down to 400, and you're down $100. And let's say you bought 3, you're down 300 at that point, right? Let's say you bought 1, and then you're being a little aggressive, and then it pulls back to the cloud, and trade is still intact. Your entry was off. Maybe you get and add maybe the full size on at the cloud test with your tight stop under the cloud. Under a close, if the price breaks the cloud and ends up breaking the trend down. That's your stop, right? But you can never full size at the top without a proper entry, right? The entry criteria, which is just a cloud test, needs to be there. You can always buy off a cloud test. I'll always say yes, because you could have a clear stop loss in place under the cloud. You'll see the momentum shift. But any cloud test while the trade is on is a potential re-entry or an add. All right. Or you get an early panic exit, right? You enter correctly, but on the first small pullback, you exit for the fear that it's going to reverse and you're going to get fucked. And then the trade ends up continuing to 300%. All right. How many times has that happened? That's happened to everybody in here. It's happened to me many times. I'm sure it's happened to Angel a bunch too. It happens. It's normal things trading, right? These things will happen. It happened to me yesterday. Was it yesterday, Angel? I think it was yesterday. Yeah. Yo, your boy Panic sold the lows and then it ripped. Come on, man. It happens. So Donovan says it's his biggest problem. So if it's his biggest problem, let me tell you the ARC solution. All right. So the ARC solution to FOMO. Let me just get this over with, then I'll deep dive into Donovan's problem. Right. Let the system tell you when. Right. On a trend day, the price will always come back to retest the cloud or VWAP. It will always give you a retest, guys. Always. We will go into example in a little bit, but I'm telling you guys, it will always give you a retest. Always. Just trust me when I say that. Don't control a FOMO because things pull back. It may not pull back. It may go another $10 up, but then it'll pull back. And if it's strong, it will continue after that pullback. Let the system tell you. Every setup today gave a pullback entry. Set your alerts at the cloud or VWAP. This is what you sit and wait for. You sit and wait for, watch that push up, and then pull back into the cloud and give you your entry. That's what we wait for. Wait for the 10-minute candle to close. Never enter mid-candle. You can, but you have to understand what you're doing, and you have to understand that if you are entering mid-candle, there's a chance maybe that candle flushes out, right? And maybe you get caught. It happens, right? If you wait for that candle to close and you see how that previous candle closed, it's easier to make a solid judgment then. A retest that holds will show a 10-minute candle close at or above the cloud. That's your signal, not before. After the close. Trust the VWAP band exit rule. Once in, use the VWAP band riding rule and stop second guessing mid trade. Let the candles tell you when the trend is over. Guys, don't be that person, and it's easy to. Don't be that person that tries to get the biggest percent and then top ticks the top of the contract. It is unrealistic. You have to be okay, and this is what people are not okay with. But with our system, you have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with watching a trade go from 100%, 150, 200, 250%, and then from 250% maybe back to 220, 200%, 180%. And at 180%, maybe that momentum shoots down and the price gets under the cloud and you sell for 180%. You missed the sell at 250%. Who gives a fuck? Excuse my language. Who cares? Sorry. Who cares? You made 180%. You missed out on the extra 70%. It would have been great, but you caught 180%. You cannot get mad about that, right? You saw that momentum shift and you got out. You still captured 180%. The thing is, you missed the 250%, right? And you could sell then if you want to. Absolutely. Nobody's going to tell you not to sell. It's up to you to take the profit. But the moment that trade reverses, and let's say it goes from a 250, 300% trade back to a 200%, 180% trade, and then the price starts to break through the clouds and under VWAP, then you get out of the trade. You made 180%. You cannot be the person that is always trying to top tick the exit or the contracts. Do you get what I'm saying, guys? Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Chat. There's 20 people in here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, all right. Panda gets it. That's it? Everyone else gets it? All right, good, because this is the psychology that you have to have behind trading. Because with this system, and we're going to get into it, you're going to see if you're using the system correctly, you're letting the winners run and you're squeezing everything out of the trade. You're squeezing what you can out of the trade. And we're going to go into the cloud system. We're going to go see how the clouds worked, right? Now, Angel, if I'm going to share my screen, it's different clouds than yours. And my clouds had multiple cloud tests today.
Yeah, you got it. Yours is more of aggressive approach, and we've even talked about it on the live. Your clouds are gonna give the entries on those aggressive days where it's just momentum. So it's a perfect day to show those.
But no, but I think we should go see yours because there are still cloud tests.
Oh, yeah,
Because more of the people use yours, so we need to show them yours because it's what's on their screen already.
bet.
And I have a bunch of examples ready to go, but we'll do that in a second. What I'm saying, guys, the whole point of 5 and the 13, the whole point of what I'm saying, guys, is like, listen, we all want to get filled at the top, and it'll happen, guys. You will top tick trade sometimes, but it's not going to be every single time, and you have to be okay with this. Going back to what I'm saying, right, with the cloud and using the clouds correctly, you'll see when that momentum stops. And if you catch a huge runner and a 300% trades goes to 200% and you sell at 200%, you got to be okay with that. You can't let it affect your psychology, and you cannot let it affect your ability to sell. Oh, it was just at 300%, it'll go back. It might not go back. It might go to 500%, but it might go back to 100%. You have to understand, if it's breaking the clouds, our system, even if it's a fake out candle, you got to respect it, in my opinion. It's better to protect than to potentially bag hold. Because if it's breaking the cloud and it closes underneath it, the chances of it coming back down and testing the 34 and the 50 and the lower EMAs are high. And you don't want to be in it while it gives those tests, because you're going to give all the profit back. And then it's going to become a stressful trade, right? And the stressful trade, it's stressful. It's exactly what it is. It's stressful. We don't want to be in stressful trades. We want to be in the trades that we get in They start working, and all we do is manage. Your job is to manage, trim at your levels, but then hold as long as system is telling us to hold. Now it goes for both ways. In a downtrend market, this worked perfectly. In an uptrend market, it's working perfectly. Every day it could be a different stock that's trending, and it's up to us to find where the trend is. I missed it on Apple, on Google, on Microsoft, those days where they literally gave zero red candles. I missed those days. I missed. I didn't capitalize on those days, but Paul did, Andrew did, and some of our members did, right? But if you're using the clouds, what I'm saying is, you're using the clouds, you will know how to hold it and how to exit. And now, as you're just starting to use it, it's gonna take time. Maybe you hold it and you get scared on the retest, but you sell, but you still lock in great gains. That's okay. But every time, there's always something that you could do better, and there's always a different approach that you can take, or there's always a better approach that you can take. Always something better that we can do, and we're gonna go over that in a second.
So, going over position sizing on high momentum days. Trend days don't mean you throw risk out the window. The ARC daily risk model still applies, but trendy days give you permission to be confident with your limits, right? So on a conservative day, guys, where let's say there's not really any big news, right? There are some movers in the market. You're seeing some cloud expansion at the beginning of the day, but you're not that confident that everything is going to follow. You can go with that conservative approach of 5% a day. On a more aggressive day today, you could go with 10% of your account for that trade. Losing trade target is going to be 30% of that premium, or once again, which just mentioned, a break below the cloud, a break below the VWAP, just indicating to you that the trade is invalid, the trend is no longer being held, right? And with a winning trade target of 50 to 150%, or the VWAP band rule, letting you capitalize on those 2, 3, 4, 500% trades. So on strong trend days, if the first trade hits 50% early, you have room for a second trade with profits. I've been seeing Achilles do this a lot, which is rolling up on the contracts, right? Buying further out strikes or further out expirations. Still having money on the table while taking some off with trimming those original contracts, right? Consider sizing the retest entry slightly larger if cloud confirmation is clean. So we've seen it. We literally did it today, right? We got into MU a little bit early. My first fill was at 250, 253. Then I had a second fill at 300, 310, bringing my average to around 270. And then we came down, right? We came down. We tested the cloud. We tested that lower VWAP band. Couldn't get it close below. Bunch of wicks. We got 3 rejection wicks down there, which we'll show you guys in a second here. But what did we do, guys? What did we do when we seen that the cloud was holding, that trend was holding? We added our full size, right? Just like we were talking about before, when the trend shows that it's going to hold, it will give you that confirmation and that confidence to hold, anticipating that move back up, right? So when VWAP band riding is active, no reason to cut early. Trust the system. Quality over quantity. 1 to 2 great trades beats 5 rush trades every single time, right? Usually these trades that are higher quality are less stressful. MU was only a little bit stressful for what, 20, 30 minutes, and then the rest of the day it was smooth sailing, guys. Like Rich said, after you have the entry, after you find the trade, after you find the momentum, it's just, guys, it's just about managing, seeing how we react at our specific key levels, see how we react at the bands, see if the clouds are expanding, if there's continued momentum, continued volume, things of that sort, right? So strike selection on momentum days, expecting a big move, consider going 2 to 3 strikes out the money to capitalize on extended moves. For smaller, uncertain moves, stick to at the money or 1 out of the money. On these bigger stocks, obviously, you're going to be trading further out contracts since the premium is so high on these big moving volatile stocks. So just sizing these to your account size as well is very helpful. Let's say you're anticipating a bigger breakout, that equals further out strikes, which equals more leverage. Going back to class 11, right? You can buy more contracts at a cheaper premium if you can anticipate a bigger move. So going forward here, you want to go over the common mistakes on trendy days.
So, all right, hold on, give me a second. All right, So common mistakes on trending days, only watching indexes. Now this is one of the things that I see the most in ARC Capital. Hello, I see a lot of traders, a lot of our guys, a lot of the people in the room. Bye. QQQ, QQQ, da 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 da. Always talking about SPY and QQQ while they are staying between the same $2 range that they are trading in, while everything else is giving you strong directional movement. If SPY and QQQ are choppy, many traders shut down for the day. Today proved individual names can be in full trend mode while indexes chop, especially while we are at all-time highs. I cannot stress that enough. Especially while we're at all-time highs. We could just stay up here while things catch up and things get them. Us being at all-time high just means risk on is what does that mean? That means people are buying more stocks. People are buying riskier assets, equities versus bonds versus real estate, everything, right? Everything. So how do you fix this? Always scan your full watch list before calling it a dead day. Start every morning with a SPY and QQ check, the VIX, and then check your watch list for divergences. Check your watch list for strong stocks. Check your watch list for weakness, right? Note the weakness, note the strength, and play the strength in a market like this. Don't play the weakness, play the strength. Entering before a 10-minute close. When the stock is trending hard, the urge to jump in on a mid candle on a dip, but that dip might continue. That 10-minute close is your confirmation that support held. Always wait for the close. Set your alerts at the cloud tests. When we come into a cloud test, those are your entries. Watch for those candles and wait for the close before entering. Exiting at the first sign of weakness. A stock in a trend will have small consolidations and small pullbacks. I don't even want to call it a pullback. I want to call it a consolidation because
You could even
it's
call it a cloud form, or not a cloud, flag formation.
bull flag for exactly. It's a bull flag forming, right? So what it's exactly price moves up, and as price moves up, it needs to absorb that zone, right? New buyers and sellers need to get into that area. That being said, that is when the cloud catches up, when the prices starts to stay in between that area. And we're gonna go. I'm gonna give you those examples in a second. One red candle doesn't mean the trend is over. You need the 10-minute candle to close back below. You need the 10-minute candle to close back below the upper VWAP band for the real exit signal. So, in my opinion, these first signs of weakness, they get scary, of course, because let's say you're up 20% and then you get caught in that 10-minute flag formation. You're up 20%, 10%, 5%, 20%, right? And if the trade goes wrong, you can go red quicker. Whereas once you get caught in that, in my opinion, those are the best times to see if you want to add into the trade and put more size on or not, because it's going to tell you right there if it's going to continue to trend or not, right? And I'll go and explain that when I get into the charts with you guys. But all of these pullbacks and these tests are your entries, and you have to start thinking like that instead of getting scared of that. And also buying on the rip and not the dip. Chasing a stock after it already broke out and rode the upper VWAP band for multiple candles is how you get trapped at the top. This is where the panic buyers enter around and get burned. You're always going to want to wait for the pullback because, guys, it always pulls back. Make that just your note. Only enter on pullbacks to clouds and VWAP entries. No clean entry, wait for the next setup and find the cloud test, right? And
Cool. So, your trendy day game plan. Follow this process every time you see a potential trendy day conditions before entering a single trade. So, during the pre-market slash open, right? That first 30 minutes, guys, like I mentioned before, check spine cues on the 10-minute. Is it trendy? Is it choppy? Are you seeing cloud expansion? Are you seeing the VWAP start to point upwards? Then review your pre-market watch list from the morning call, right? Look at the stocks that we talked about in the morning, day prior, and whatever we're talking about in the chat before pre-market with Rich. Then 3, identify names with catalyst or strong pre-market moves. 4, mark cloud levels and VWAP on charts in Webull, right? If you're expecting pullbacks to the cloud and let's say you can't see every single stock, having a little alert at that cloud is always an easy option to get that alert and be able to see if it's presenting opportunity or if it's breaking through trend. And number 5, set price alerts at key cloud slash VWAP support zones. Same ordeal with what I just said, right? Then during the trade day, Alert signals, watch for 10-minute candle closes at support. 2, candle confirmed cloud expanded and angled in direction, right? You want to see that expansion before getting into any sort of big position, right? Don't expect a big move if you don't see the cloud expanding. We've seen this easily with Nvidia today, right? If you look at Nvidia, which we'll look at afterwards, and compare it to something like MU, SNDK, AVGO, CoreWeave, Marvel, any one of these names, you can easily see that the expansion is so visible on these names that had moves, and on Nvidia it just wasn't as clear. On SPY it wasn't as clear. On Qs it wasn't as clear. And 3, enter on the next candle after confirmation, not before. I know sometimes get itchy. You think it's going to leave you. You think it's going to go back up above the cloud. And sometimes it does. Sometimes it just wicks to the cloud. But if you're going to be playing safely and you're really trying to compound on a smaller account like most beginners are, it's better to just wait for the candle close. Then 4, once above the upper VWAP band, switch to ride mode, right? You're going to start managing your position rather than worrying if you're going to get out, right? You're just sitting back. You already have the entry. You already have your full size, and you're just managing. 5, exit only on 10-minute close back below the upper band and back above the lower band on like bearish trendy days. And then 6, log the trade, what worked, what didn't. Remember, on choppy index days, it look harder at individuals. On trend days, stay patient, ride the band, and let the 10-minute candles do the talking, right? If you don't see it pulling back to the cloud, if you don't see it showing any sort of weakness or rejection at the top, you might as well still hold, right? Going forward here, you want to go over the key takeaways, and then we'll get into the charts here.
So key takeaways. So know where to look. Not all instruments, not all stocks trend on the same day. When indexes are choppy, individuals can be in full trend mode. Always check your full watch list, not just SPY and QQQ. This is where trading only futures will fuck you. Plain and simple. You're not going to be able to catch all the nice opportunity in the market if you could only trade SPY, QQ, or ES, NQ, gold, and crude, right? Or silver. I can go on about that. But VWAP band riding equals max profit. So once a stock starts trading above the upper VWAP band, your job is to hold. The band is your trailing stop. Use a 10-minute close back below it as your exit. This is how 50% trades become 300% bangers. Our clouds tell the story. Fully expanded, angled clouds equals trend mode. Compressed and flat clouds equals chop. MU's full expanded clouds versus NVIDIA's compressed cloud was the difference between the 300% trade and the pass on the trade. Whereas NVIDIA ended up trending later in the day. And some of our members even smacked it. Hello. Patience beats FOMO every time. Every strong trend today gave a pullback, retest, entry. You never had to chase. You had to be alert and wait for the 10-minute closes on the pullbacks and trust the process. Stop watching the P&L mid-trade as well, because it's just going to create more emotion. Our next class is about trading psychology, managing emotions, breaking early exit habit, and building confidence on your entries and exits. Now, that'll be next week. That'll be next Wednesday.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I'd just like to thank you so much, Lord, for this dedicated team, all the ARC analysts, everyone that's just been trading here with Rich, and all of us here showing up every day. I just appreciate you for such a coordinated team and just for giving us all opportunity throughout the market. I also just appreciate you for anyone listening to this video and all the students that attended this live. Thank you for just showing up and pursuing a new journey or path or career in your life. And I just ask the Lord to bless your journey and just to ask you to make Him part of it on your day-to-day decision making. I know that God loves when we include Him in our life, and He'll just bless you with more abundance the more you just live in His presence. And I just thank you so much for showing up, guys. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Let's get it, guys. Let's absolutely kill it tomorrow. I hope everyone gets the sleep that they need. I hope that everyone learned something new today. Maybe has some motivation tonight to look over some other classes, to really lock in on the system, and understand that trading is more than just money. And if you really do play by the system and have proper risk management, you'll be good, right?
Bro, awesome.
Yes, sir. I hope you enjoy your steak, my boy.
Oh, bro, that shit is hitting, bro. Wife, you know how to cook for show.
Let's get it. I bet. I'm ending the recording here.